A Chargers news day does not always hit like a bomb going off. Sometimes it hits like that tight feeling in your chest because it all comes back to one real question. Is Los Angeles going to protect its window or keep leaving too much talent in the hands of luck, health, and improvisation? Today we have Rashawn Slater trying to turn pain into an answer. A possible aggressive swing in the secondary, Tre Harris pushing toward a real role in this offense, and Alec Ingold reminding everybody that a fullback can be a lot more modern than people want to admit. Drop a like and choose your side, caution or attack, because this roster cannot survive on promise alone. The first story stings a little, because Rashawn Slater is exactly that line between believing and holding your breath. When he is on the field, the Chargers' offensive line just feels different. That is not hype. From Clements High School in Texas, to becoming an instant starter at Northwestern, to growing into an all-conference player, to going 13th overall in the 2021 draft, a lot of people looked at that pick like a steal. Los Angeles had finally landed a real tackle to protect Justin Herbert right at the start of his quarterback era. And look at the impact right away. As a rookie, Slater did not walk in just to figure things out. He walked in and stabilized the whole picture. Pro Bowl, second-team All-Pro, fourth in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. For a franchise that watched Phillip Rivers spend too many stretches without that kind of protection, it felt almost like relief. Like the Chargers were finally saying, all right, now the foundation is really here. But his career has also become a brutal test of toughness and resilience. In 2022, the torn biceps took away almost the entire season. In 2023, he came back, showed some rust, but still played above-average football. Then in 2024, he gave fans the response they were waiting for. 15 games, another Pro Bowl selection, a 91.1 overall grade from PFF, second best among all tackles, with a 90.4 in pass protection and an 82.8 in the run game. That is not just some tiny spreadsheet note. That is dominance. That is the kind of performance that can completely change a quarterback's life. That is why the 4-year, $114 million contract did not just appear out of nowhere. The team paid him because, when Slater is healthy, he plays like one of the pillars of the roster. The hard part, the part that can make any Chargers fan go quiet for a second, is that before the 2025 season, he suffered a ruptured left patellar tendon during training camp. And for an offensive lineman, for a player who lives off base, explosion, anchor, and power transfer, that injury is serious. So 2026 is not just another season on his resume. It is an emotional test for Slater, for the offensive line, and for the patience of Bolt Nation. I want to believe in the comeback because Slater has already shown the technique, the mindset, and the elite-level ability. But belief does not mean pretending there is no risk. The Chargers need him strong, not just active. They need the tackle who can give Herbert time, comfort, and trust again. If Slater turns this recovery into an answer, Los Angeles gets more than a starter back. It gets back a major piece of its offensive identity. Now shift from the pain point to the attack point. Because if Slater is about rebuilding the foundation of the offense, Denzel Ward is about raising the ceiling of the defense without tearing up the entire future. And I know a lot of people hear a major name in trade talk and immediately think, huge cost, heavy contract, long drama. But this one started to feel different when Garrett Podell from CBS Sports listed Ward among stars who could still force a summer trade and suggested the price could be just a fourth-round pick. A fourth-round pick for Denzel Ward? I am sorry, but Joe Hortiz has to at least pick up the phone. Yes, the contract brings complications. Ward carries a big cap number, with the 2026 figure cited at more than $30 million, and the Browns side has its own problems with void years and accelerated dead money. Cleveland could hesitate because good players do not get moved without real thought. But from the Chargers side, the read is different. When a defense is trying to reset with a new coordinator, and a premium corner under 30 becomes available for a draft cost that does not break the build, you do not treat that like some extra luxury. You treat it like a real ambition test. Tarheeb Still and Cam Hart have shown good signs. Dante Jackson came in through free agency and can help too. Nico Reed deserves time to develop. None of that needs to be wiped away. The point is actually the opposite. Smart teams do not dismiss young players. They create an environment where those players do not have to become saviors before they are ready. Put Ward in a secondary that already has Derwin James, and the whole conversation changes. The margin for error changes. The courage in the defensive calls changes. And this is where the emotional side of being a Chargers fan really kicks in. How many times has this team had Herbert, had pieces, had promise, but missed that one move that told the rest of the AFC that Los Angeles was serious about its window? A fourth-round pick guarantees nothing, of course, but if that price is even close to real, the posture has to be aggressive. Because contending is not only about protecting cap space. Sometimes it is about recognizing when the door cracks open and walking through before somebody slams it shut. After talking about a possible big swing on defense, there is a quieter offensive story that might be exactly the type of thing that decides a season without making a ton of noise in June. Tre Harris is going through his first full NFL offseason, and the signals from minicamp point to a player trying to move out of that gray area between potential and a real role. His rookie season had modest numbers: 30 catches, 324 yards, and 1 touchdown. For anyone who saw what he was at Louisiana Tech and Ole Miss, that did not feel like the ceiling. It felt like adjustment. There is a big difference between a receiver who disappointed and a receiver who is still learning the rhythm, the physicality, the speed of the windows, and the way NFL defenders punish even the smallest hesitation. Tyler Sullivan from CBS Sports highlighted Harris as one of the possible beneficiaries of a bigger target share, especially because he turned heads at minicamp and showed up with more muscle. That detail matters. A young receiver does not grow only by understanding the playbook. He grows when his body catches up to the league too. When he can absorb contact, hold his route, fight at the top of the stem, and stop disappearing against more physical corners. And that is where the Chargers' decision starts to connect with the bigger read. The team did not chase a major wide receiver this offseason. You can view that as a risk, and I understand why that gives some fans a chill. But it can also be read as a vote of confidence in the group already inside the building. Ladd McConkey should still be the top target. That role feels like his. But if Tre Harris becomes stronger, more comfortable, and more explosive in year 2, Mike McDaniel's offense gets a layer Herbert badly needed. Someone who can turn development into production, not just another nice talking point. The point is not to say Harris is already a star. The point is that there is a real opening for him to take space. With McDaniel, motion, rhythm, YAC, and smarter distribution can speed up players who looked trapped in smaller roles. And if Harris really has arrived more prepared, Los Angeles needs to test that growth early, because the AFC does not hand out trophies for endless patience. Bold temperature check in the comments. Are you confident Tre Harris makes that second-year jump, or do you need to see it before you believe it? The fourth story is the kind a lot of people skip right over because it does not have fantasy shine. It does not come with a 60-yard catch, and it does not put a superstar name screaming across the screen. Fullback, Alec Ingold. I can already hear part of the fan base thinking, seriously, we are talking about this in 2026. But that is exactly where the Chargers read gets interesting. Because with Mike McDaniel, a fullback is not some old-school piece buried in the back of the playbook. He can be a key to disguise, motion, and conflict for the defense. Matt Bowen from ESPN made that point pretty clearly when he said that, with McDaniel arriving as offensive coordinator and Ingold coming over from the Dolphins, the Chargers should see a major increase in 21 personnel. And the detail that jumps out is the history. The previous season, McDaniel's offense in Miami used 234 snaps from that package, the second most in the league. 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 2 receivers. It looks simple on paper. On the field, if it is called the right way, it becomes a real problem. Because the defense has to decide before the snap whether it is seeing run, quick pass, play action, motion to create leverage, extra blocking, a route out of the backfield, or some adjustment that pulls the linebacker out of place. Ingold does not need 10 touches to change a play. Sometimes he changes everything by lining up in the right spot, forcing a response, opening a lane, selling intent, and giving Omarion Hampton or Mitchell an extra half second to see the path. And that connects directly to what Los Angeles needs to become. The offense cannot depend only on Herbert hitting tight windows with a defender in his lap. It also cannot become some outdated attempt to run just for the sake of running. The beauty here is different, using weight to create lightness. Getting into stronger formations, bringing Charlie Kolar and David Njoku into 12 or 13 personnel packages, and still having the flexibility to attack through the air. That forces the defense to play uncomfortable. If it goes heavy, Herbert can punish it with the pass. If it stays light, Hampton can attack the throat of the front. There is also the human side of Ingold, and that should not get ignored. He talked about learning different ways to build relationships, studying, preparing for the field, being available and accountable, and giving the playmakers a little extra space to do what they do. That might sound simple, but inside a locker room trying to turn talent into execution, that kind of presence matters. Ingold is not going to be the name leading national debate every Monday. But if McDaniel really knows how he wants to use this offense, do not be surprised if several big Chargers plays start with his number doing the invisible work. To me, that is grown-up football. Not nostalgia, architecture. This news day leaves one clear feeling. The Chargers are surrounded by possibilities, But possibility only becomes a special season when the organization responds. Slater has to return as a pillar. Ward, if the price is really in that range, has to be treated like a real opportunity. Tre Harris has to turn minicamp buzz into production when the ball counts. And Ingold could be the detail that lets McDaniel's offense breathe in a different way. That is the confidence meter for 2026. Do you believe Los Angeles is building something dangerous, or does it still need one bigger punch? If this debate hits you, subscribe to the channel and stay with us. Bolt up!